dedicated Liloi Nishmas, Yoino, Meir ben Chaim Alexander Ziskin, Allah Shalom. We're going to be a little bit creative. Even though the topic is a very common topic, analyzing the implications of Marasayin and Halacha, but the connection to the parasha. What does the parasha have to do with Marasayin? So if you look, the Torah Kedosha tells us that Yitzchak arrives in Gerar, and he tells them that Achoisi, he says that Rivka is his sister because he's afraid that being the Rivka is a Taivas Mara, they can end up taking Rivka, so therefore he says Achoisi. And the pasuk continues, what happens? V'yashkev Avimelech barach Eloim. V'yar v'hina Yitzchak mitzachek em ha'isha. He looks through the window and he sees that Yitzchak's being mitzachek em ha'isha. So he writes to Kli Yaakov, what prompted Avimelech to start looking out the window to see what Yitzchak's doing? So the Kli Yaakov writes that Avimelech was mahar beliba, he was troubled. He says, I don't understand, his fellow comes, he says he's a single man, he's not married. He's here with his sister, he never dates, he never goes out, he doesn't want to get married. Something looks fishy, there's a little bit of a chash over here. So therefore says the pasuk, Vayashke Vayar B'hinei Barach Eloim. He started to look out the window, what's going on? He was choishish. So this gives us maybe perhaps a little bit of a beginning into the topic of Marasayin, into the topic of Shad, which at the end of the shir we'll be able to apply many halacha l'maises, many shilas that come up in today's day and age regarding the halachas of Marasayin. Before we do that, let's begin with the sugya. We'll start with the Gemara, we'll go into the Rishonim, and we'll see later on in the Achronim, and we'll discuss the different shuvas for him of how to address the shilas that are very relevant to today, in today's world. We'll first begin with the Gemara Masechta Shabbos. The Gemara Masechta Shabbos tells us like this. In Avkufman Vav Medbeis, the Gemara says, the Mishnah, Misha Nashu Kelov B'derech B'mayim. A person's walking, he falls into a puddle of water. Well, let's say it's raining, it's very hard outside, and his garments are totally soaked. So right now he has all his begadim, they're filled with water. So the halacha is, Mahalach Behen Ve'en HaChoshesh. He's allowed to look in his clothes. We're not afraid he's going to take it off to do a schita. Because even though regularly a wet garment that's tefeach, a person has a garment that's absorbed with a lot of water, we say he can't hold it on Shabbos because we're afraid he might come to be seichet, he'll squeeze out the water. And in a sense, it's a form of kibbutz, it's a toll of malabim. But over here where the fellow is wearing the clothes, says the Mishnah, the Rabbanan allowed him to wear the clothes, that's covered abrius, and therefore says the Mishnah Mahalach Ben he could wear it. But once he's a gil lechatzer achitzoyna shoycham b'chama v'loy kineged am. When he takes it off to dry, he has to make sure to take it off to dry b'tzinah. But he can't go ahead and hang it up to dry in the clothesline outside in a makim rabbim. Why is that? Because they're afraid of Marasayin. If he goes ahead and hangs it up outside where everybody's passing by, if they call on the people are going to say, why are the garments all wet? It must be he just washed it. And doing kibbutz on Shabbos is a biblical prohibition. It's a lav d'oraisa, it's an issur of kibbutz. So therefore, Al Marasayin says the Mishnah, he's only allowed to go ahead and hang up the clothes to dry b'makim mutzna b'makim tzina. Comes the Gemara. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav Kol makim she'asu chacham b'nei Marasayin. Whenever we find that Chazal Asr, they made an issur, they made a prohibition because of Marasayin, says the Gemara, afilu b'chedrei chadorim is asr. If Yehuda says in the name of Rav that when it comes to Marasayin, it doesn't make a difference. Even b'chedrei chadorim, a person's in the privacy of his own home, nobody can see. There are no passerbys, no one's going to be choshedim. There's not going to be Marasayin, it doesn't make a difference. One Chazal made the gzera, it's loy plug, they made one takana, being that it looks like an isser in front of people, it's one gzera, one takana, afilu b'chedrei chadorim is asr. So come to Gemara and ask, what do you mean? The Mishnah said not like that. The Mishnah said, Misha Nashu Kelov B'mayim. So you're right, he can't hang it up outside in the public place. But in the privacy of his own home, in his chutzner, he's allowed to do it. So Rav Yehuda Amar Rav is saying against the Mishnah. Says the Gemara Tanoim. It's a machlokes Tanoim. Like we find the Gemara, it says, the Tanya Sheikh the Mechama V'loy Kineged Am, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon Oisin. Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon say it's also afilu b'chedrei chadorim. So Rav Yehuda Amar Rav that says the halacha that afilu b'chedrei chadorim, even in the privacy of one's home, the issur of Maris Ayin still applies. That's going according to the shita of Rabbi Elazar and Reb Shimon. And that's how we pass in halacha l'maisa. You look in Halacha Shabbos and Siman Shanal of Sif Memei, the Mechaber over there says that when it comes to Maris Ayin, afilu b'chedrei chadorim it's us. Now I don't want to get into this topic, but today it might be a little bit different. There are some places who say that clothing they usually dry clean. So usually nobody washes it. There's a tzvara to say there's no Marasayin because everybody knows he didn't wash it. But let's leave that maybe for a different time. We'll talk about exactly that falls under the Halacha of Kibbutz. But if you take the Gemara the way it is at face value, with the Halacha of the Shulchan Aruch, when it comes to an Issa D'Oraisa, we say Afilu B'Chedrei Chadarim, there's an Issa of Marasayin. It doesn't make a difference if people could see, they can't see. Once there's an Issa of Marasayin, we don't differentiate between a Makom Rabim and a Makom Mutzna, a Makom Yachid. This is the first Makar we have of Marasayin. If you look, there's a very interesting Mishnah Masechta Shkalim. The Mishnah Masechta Shkalim, Paragimel tells us that there is a halacha that the Kohen, he wasn't allowed to have any pockets on his garments, and he couldn't have any hems. Why not? He says the Mishnah Kishem Ya'asher. Maybe he's going to become rich. He's going to strike a good deal. And people are going to say, you know why he has so much money? Because when he entered the chambers that all the money is stored in the Beis HaMikdash, he fills up his pockets. And being he fills up his pockets, that's why he amassed such an enormous amount of money. So therefore, there's a halacha that a person is supposed to be Nikiyim. A person is supposed to be Naki. He shouldn't place himself in a position that people could be choshed him, could suspect him of wrongdoing. So therefore, says the Mishnah, he enacted a special halacha that he can't have any pockets, he can't have any hems, there can't be any chashash whatsoever. The Yisrael Nikiyim Hashem Yisrael, the pasuk in Parshas Matos, and Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Bnei Gad, Bnei Ruvain, there's a halacha that one has to avoid all chashashas. So far we see clearly that when it comes to an Issa D'Oraisa, there's a halacha of Marasayim. What about if it's an Issa D'Rabbanan? What about if a person's doing something, he's doing something that's mutter, but it could lead to someone suspecting him that he's being an Ovid Issa D'Rabbanan? Does Marasayim apply over there as well? Or is it only strictly limited to a Din D'Oraisa? So if you take a look, there's Ramah and Simon Pei Zayin in Hilchas Basa B'chol. The Ramah says like this. We know that the din is that the Issa D'Oraisa Basa B'chol is only with kosher meat with kosher milk. Meat and milk that was cooked together. If the meat and milk is not cooked together, it's only D'Rabbanan. But the Issa D'Oraisa Basa B'chol, if somebody cooks the meat and the milk together, so when he does that, there's an Issa to eat it, there's an Issa to cook it, there's an Issa to have anah. However, let's say the meat and milk is not cooked together. Well, let's say take, for example, chicken and milk. Chicken and milk, with the rice is mutter. The Gemara, in fact, says that in the city of Rabbi Yossi, they used to eat chicken and milk. Chicken and milk is exer Rabbanan, he even hold it exer. But we paskin that there is an issue eating chicken and milk, but it's only Rabbanan the Knesset. It's not the rice. So writes to Ramah, Cholov Mishkadim, if you have, let's say, milk from almonds, almond milk, or let's say today known as soy milk, parva milk, Umanichem ba'basar oifer, says the Ramah, you're allowed to go ahead and cook chicken with this parva milk. You want to fry chicken and margarine, let's say. The Ramah says it's no problem. Why is that? Being that the whole list of chicken and milk is anyway Rabbanan to start with, there's no din of Maras Ayin when it comes to a Rabbanan de Kallah. Because over here the whole shash is, a person's going to say, maybe he's cooking chicken and milk. But even if it is chicken and milk, it's only the Rabbanan. So b'mokim the chash is only a chash for the Rabbanan, says the Ramah, there's no problem. But if a person wants to cook meat with the almond milk or with the soy milk, or let's say he wants to eat, they have now today, what's it called, kosher cheeseburgers. So over there it's mamish, have, let's say the soy cheese together with the meat. Over there says the Ramah, that would be marasayim. So what you do is you put the almonds on the table. So like this, if the almonds are on the table, a person will say, oh, why are the almonds on the table? It must be that the milk that he cooked the meat in, he baked the meat in, or he fried the meat in, was made with the almond milk, and the simon is enough. It serves as a simon that it won't lead to a chashash. So the Ramah clearly says that the din of Marasayin is only something that's negated to a D'Oraisa, but not when it comes to something that's only the Rabbanan. And therefore says the Ramah, all the Rabbanans will be mutter. The problem is it's not so pashut. Why is that? Because there's a shach. The shach quotes the mashal, that the mashal says, no, the same way there's Marasayin by D'Oraisa, who adin also, there's Marasayin by the Rabbanan. There's no difference. And the Shach says, now that the Sefer, the Be'er Sheva came to my hands, I saw that he is a tremendous kash on this Ramah. He is a kash on the Ramah from a Mefurish Gemara Masechta Shabbos. The Gemara Masechta Shabbos tells us, the Mishnah on Daf Dalam and Beis, the Mishnah says, Al Yotzei B'chamor B'zug, Afilu Pokbuk Es Hazug Shalom. A person on Shabbos can't take out his chamor, he can't take out his donkey with the bells around his neck, even if the bells aren't going to make any noise. So Gemara says, why not? Why can you go out with the animal on Shabbos with the bells around its neck. Says the Gemara, the Dilma Dazil L'Chinka. We're afraid that he's going to take the behemoth to the marketplace and he's going to sell the behemoth. Because in those days, when they used to take a chamar for sale, they'd put a bell around its neck. So anyone who sees this fellow walking in the street with the chamar, they're going to say, you know where he's going? He's going to the auction. He's trying to auction off the chamar.
I'm afraid he's going to do it, or afraid someone else is going to think he's doing it?
He's not. He was going for a regular walk. He's not doing it.
He's spatzing with his donkey.
He's spatzing with his donkey. Mara's saying this guy's eating almond milk. But we're afraid how people are going to perceive it. So therefore the Chazal, they made a special list of how people are going to view it, how they're going to see it. So here the Gemara says a person can walk with his chamar on Shabbos, because even though he's not going to the marketplace, but a person's going to say, you know why he's going with the bell around his neck? Because he's going to the marketplace to sell the behemoth. What's the issue of selling on Shabbos? Mekach HaMemker on Shabbos. It's not a Daraisa of the Kedin, it's a Din D'Rabbanan. Either because of Exeri, he might come to write, Shem Yichtov, or because of Mimsei Chetzecha, but it's only D'Rabbanan of the Kedin. So it says the Shach, the Beersheva, the Marshal, they all say he clearly has a Mefurish Gemara connected what the Ramah is saying. How could the Ramah tell me that when it comes to Rabbanan there's no Maris Ayin? There's a Mefurish Gemara. The Gemara says you can't go out with the Chamar on Shabbos because people are going to think you're going to sell the behemoth, but selling the behemoth is only the Rabbanan. So being that selling the behemoth is only the Rabbanan, according to Ramah there's no Maris Ayin. So what's the problem?
The Gemara uses the term Maris Ayin?
I believe so. The Lashon Gemara is the Lashon Gemara is Mishum de Mechzi Kiman de Azal Lechenga. It looks like he's taking the behemoth to the marketplace.
Is that the only issue here?
That doesn't mean Maris Ayin.
So what else would this be? Well, it would be Chashash.
Riding it?
Oh.
That's
the Mishnah Shkol.
Different Maris Ayin.
I mean, there's two dinim. Two din of Chashash and din of Maris Ayin. Okay, so that's what we're getting to. That's what we're getting to.
Why is that the only two?
It's the appearance that he's doing something. That's Maris Ayin.
Right.
They let him ride a chamar on Shabbos?
No.
So why don't say people say that? Oh, maybe they're right.
Not right, but that's also...
Why not for the mark? What did people have to do?
In those days, when they would sell the chamar, they put a bell around the neck.
That was a sign.
There's a sign. The bells, it's like they're putting it for sale. They had a tag on it. For sale. They're right. They're riding with lots of them on it. Right. And a chanam. So we have a tremendous kasha on the remote. Tremendous kasha. So there's a Yisori in many of the Achronim, which really sheds tremendous light into the whole concept, into the whole idea of what Maris Ayin is all about. And Dr. Gary, this is a little bit what you're alluding to. This Yisori is said over by Moshe in many of his tshuvas, in Chelik Beis, in Simin Mem and Arachayim. He has another tshuva in Chelik Gimel. The Minchas Osha says this Torah. The Stei Chemed, many of the Achronim introduced this Yisori when it comes to Maris Ayin. And according to this, I believe there's a good teretz. Meaning to say like this. What's the pshat of Maris Ayin? Yesh Shloimah, we can understand Maris Ayin in two different ways. One aspect of Maris Ayin is that if somebody sees me doing something wrong, let's take the case of Masechta Shabbos. A fellow's hanging up his wet clothes in the clothesline, and a person's going to think that he went ahead and washed it on Shabbos. So Chazal were afraid that in effect what's going to happen is people are going to start to become lax in Hilchos Shabbos. A person's going to say, if he washed his clothes, he's a very respectable fellow, it must be it's mutter to wash your clothes on Shabbos. So therefore they were afraid that if somebody does an Isser, people will learn from it, and they'll also end up doing the Isser themselves. So therefore they went ahead and made a Gzeira. There's something called Maris Ayin. Something which looks like you're doing something, can make it look like it's mutter. Chazal were afraid if you're going to do it, that it looks mutter, other people are going to start doing it as well. But then perhaps there's another aspect, a different way how to understand it. And that is that really Chazal were not afraid. Chazal understood, if I know the halacha, you're not allowed to wash clothes on Shabbos, just because a person hangs up his clothes, it doesn't mean that I'm going to think it's mutter. But rather there's a new halacha. There's a halacha called cheshash. The pasuk says, "V'yisim nekiyim Hashem Yisrael," even if no one's going to learn from the Isser. But out of chiyav, having a chrayis, having a responsibility that I shouldn't go ahead and give off the wrong impression of myself. V'yisim nekiyim, I have to look like I'm an Halacha person, I'm a from Yid. And I can't do something even if nobody will learn from it. I'll give you a mashal. With Sunday's Rosh Chodesh, Shulchas Chanukah, and Tafresh Ayin Aleph, the Mechaber says that Bisman, let's say, Bisman Gemara, before the Zman Gemara, or let's say in Eretz Yisrael, where they light outside, so if somebody has a house that's facing two sides of the street, so the Gemara says that he has to light on both sides. Why? Because someone's going to pass by on one side, he's not going to see a menorah, he's going to say, this fellow doesn't like menorah. Over there, what's the chash? The guy walking by is going to say, oh, it must be it's not Hanukkah tonight, I don't have to light. No, he sees every house has a menorah besides this fellow. The only problem is the problem of chash. He's going to say, oh, this person that lives in this house, it must be, he's not such an Halacha person. Well, you have a lot of places like this. Lamash you have Gemara about the Zohar.
If he's saw the guy passing by, close to the shaver.
And a Chanami, but Lamaisa Kazalu, even though there's a din of knowledge of Schutz. Lamaisa, they know people weren't like that.
How about being donkey with Kavskos?
Oh, so you're right. But Chazal knew they knew what's going to be. Not everybody's down the Kavskos. Unfortunately, not everybody's down the Kavskos. So they had to make certain Gedorim that person shouldn't fall into a marshal of Shash. What's this din of Shash? This din of Shash is mamash the Mishnah Shkolm. The Mishnah Shkolm that says the Kohen can't have pockets. He can't have a hem. That's because people are going to think it's moving to steal? No, that's not the Pshat. The Pshat is a lot of no one's going to learn from his Meisim. But yet there's a new halacha. There's a halacha that you can't go ahead and do something that puts the person in a predicament that he's showing that he's not an halacha person, that he's not a firm person, he's being over Yisurim. Two separate halachas. What's the nafkamina? The nafkamina would come out is by Nissa D'Rabbanan. Why? Because if you learn Marasayin is the first way, that when I see someone doing an Isser, I'm going to learn from him and I'm going to start doing the Isser. So that's Xer. Because to start with, when it looks like this person's eating chicken and milk, even though he's really having almond milk, Chazal say no, he can't do it. Why? Because it looks like he's doing chicken and milk. But chicken and milk itself is the Rabbanon. So now you want to go ahead and make a new Xer on the onlooker that we're afraid he's going to learn from his Meisim? That's Xer. Xer you don't do. Masha'ekin, if it would be a Doiraisa Dekis, like the case of Masech Shabbos, where a person washes his clothes. So over there, where it's an Issa Doiraisa, Chazal made one takana. The takana is Marasayin. And therefore they don't differentiate between Chadri Chadarim, they don't differentiate with Fehesya. They made a halacha something called Marasayin, because it's not Xer. Once they made the takana, it's a loy plug. They made the takana across the board. But we still have to worry about the chash. You're right by the Rabbanon, there's no Marasayin, but what about the aspect of chash? You're right, I'm not going to learn from the person. But there's a chash, this person's eating chicken and milk. And being that he's eating chicken and milk, he's giving off the wrong impression. Where would there be an afkamina? Chash you only have if it's b'fehesed. But if it's happening the chedrei chadarim, if it's happening in the privacy of one's home, there's no chash over there. And if you look, the Toises, the Rishonim, the Rosh, the Magen Avram, the Yerabah, the Mishnah Berurah, and Shanal say that even though we pass in that by Nissa Doiraisa, we say afilu b'chedrei chadarim etzaser, when the Marasayin is a chash for Doiraisa, we ask for even b'chedrei chadarim, that's only by Nissa Doiraisa. Lashenka by Nissa D'Rabbanan, it's only us if it's b'fehesed. But if it's b'chedrei chadarim, that they never went ahead by Nissa D'Rabbanan and said this Marasayin. What's the pshat? Because Marasayin and D'Rabbanan the first halacha that you don't have. All you have is a chash. So being that the only thing you have is a chash, you only have a chash when it's done in front of people. When it's done b'chedrei chadarim, you don't have a chash no longer. So listen to a nachlas tzvi, a beautiful nachlas tzvi, of tzvi cats, a tamil in the bach, of Yoel Circus, 1700 Pesach, he's brought in Shulchan Aruch, he's quoted all the time, the nachlas tzvi, he's brought down the side of the Shulchan Aruch. Listen how he explains the Ramah. The Chayr fits him beautifully, he just gives about 8-9 words, but I believe this is what he's saying. The nachlas tzvi writes, and the Pesach Shuvah quotes him, V'ayim b'nachlas tzvi shekesafti, D'mikol mokoim, ein lesser la'niach, basar oif b'cholim shkedim, ela imhu b'fnei harayim, kimay b'sudis gedolos. If you want to answer chicken and almond milk, or let's say chicken and margarine, that's only b'sudis gedolos, when it's a fehesh, it's in front of everybody else. Avol b'beiseh, but when it's in the privacy of his own home, it's mutter. What's the pshat? Very geshmak, because that's the din of Marasayin that you don't have by Drabbanos, because it's Xer. The only thing you're left with is a chash. A chash you only have publicly. So according to this, we can answer the kasha. The case of the behema, where was the behema brought? It was brought in the Fehesya, it was brought B'tzina. It's brought the Fehesya. See, even though there's no Marasayin by the Rabbanans, but there's still chash. So therefore says the Gemara in Shabbos, which the Ramah would agree to, that a person can't take his chamar in the public streets, because right now he's doing it for Rabbim, there's a chash. Either Ramah says a person in his house could have chicken with almond milk? Of course he could, because in the privacy of his own home, there is no chashash. So Memelo, according to this, the Ramah comes out beautifully. Also, din of Marasayin, that people are going to learn from the Isser, that you don't have by the Rabbanans. All you have left is a chash. Once it's a chash, it depends if it's done by Rabbim, or it depends if it's done by Tzimah. So the Gemara in Shabbos...
So if you put the shkelim on the table by Rabbi, you've removed the chashash.
Exactly, and that's what Ramah says when it comes to, let's say, basar, or will be done by Rabbi, you put the almonds on the table, there's no more chash, and therefore over there will be mutter. But even if it says Ramah, you don't have to put the almonds on the table if it's mitzvah. Because over there, there's no more chash, it's in the privacy of the home. So far we're coming out with things like this. We're coming, now, this is where Nachal Tzvi perhaps learns the Ramah, but there are others who held the Ramah across the board, that there's no Marasayim by the Rabbanos. There's a fascinating Pri Chadash. The Pri Chadash, Reb Chizkiah de Siloi, he lived in the 1700s from 1656 to 1695. One of the most famous commentaries on Shulchan Aruch. He was born in Italy, and at the age of 20, he immigrated to Eretz Yisrael. After spending 2 years in Eretz Yisrael, he needed funds for leaving Yerushalayim, and he came to Amsterdam. And when they saw the Pri Chadash, he had the manuscripts of his Pirush on his commentaries in Yeridea. The people in Amsterdam saw that he was a special person. He was an Adam Gadol Ad Ma'od, Dias Mamash and Kol Tarakula, and they wanted to hire him as the Rav because the present Rav was retiring. So first he said, okay, he'll accept the position on two conditions. One is he has to have a high salary, and the other condition was that he can accept gifts. He wants a big salary, he doesn't have to take matanas. And they were masking him. But then he said he doesn't want the job. Why not? He doesn't want the job because they're not going to listen to his muscle. So the whole shtel is a mockery, and therefore he's going back to Eretz Yisrael. So on his way back to Eretz Yisrael, he was traveling through Egypt, through Mitzrayim. So after the people of Amsterdam printed a sefer, the Pri Chadash in Yeridea, the people, the Chachmei Mitzrayim, look at the sefer, and they said, we have to put the sefer in Cherem. We have to ban the sefer. The Pri Chadash was the 17th century. His whole sefer is full of machlokes. He's arguing with the Beis Yosef. He's arguing with all the Gedolim of the previous generations. And the Chachmei Mitzrayim went ahead and they put the sefer in Cherem. They said the Pri Chadash himself, we would put him in Cherem, but we can't. He's too big for that. But the sefer itself, they wrote, the Shal Teshuvas Guinness Rodin writes in Chal Gimel Siman Gimel. He says, you can't learn it, Lo b'derech kviyah, v'lo b'derech harai. You can't even open it. You can't even look at it. It's banned. There's a cherem. They say over the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, Reb Chaim Atar. He wrote a sefer especially called the Pri Torah, which went ahead and was chelik on the Psukim, the Pri Chadash, the Pri Chadash called the Pri Chadash, the new Pri. So Reb Chaim called it the Pri Torah, like the Pri Hadam, where he went against the Pri Chadash on his Psukim. And when he traveled, when the Orach Chaim was traveling with Chidah in Eretz Yisrael to go visit the Kfarim, so the Orach Chaim HaKadosh stops by the kever of the Pri Chadash. He was nifta very young, at 39 years old, the Pri Chadash. So he stopped off by the kever of the Pri Chadash, and he stood there for 15 minutes, and he was mumbling something. So the Chidah asked him, what were you saying? So he says, I was asking Mechila, because here I wrote the Pri Torah. Against the Psukim of the Pri Chadash, I wanted to ask Mechila. It's ironic, but the prime disciple, the prime Talmud of the Pri Chadash was Shlomo Al-Ghazi, who ended up becoming the Rav of Mitzrayim for 45 years, and all his psukim was his Rebbe's psukim, the Pri Chadash. So here the Chachmei Mitzrayim, you see, Mamash Yad Hashem. Here the Chachmei Mitzrayim wanted to keep out the Pri Chadash's psukim because it's going to, how does he argue the Beis Yosef? How can he do that? How does he argue with Gedolim from the previous generation? And here is Talmud Muvik. Shlomo Al-Ghazi came to Mitzrayim and he made them follow all the psukim of the Pri Chadash. I'll tell you famously, just off the cuff, parenthetically, just mamash on the side. One of the famous psukim the Pri Chadash is, this is very common. You see the Welt mamash goes into Pri Chadash on this. Shabbos morning, there's a Machaber in Reish Ayin Gimel, Sif Daled. That the halacha is that I'm allowed to go ahead and be moitzi somebody else kiddush, even though I'm not eating by the meal, and I'm not being yotzi with this kiddush. I was already yotzi kiddush. I don't need kiddush. Says the Machaber, I'm allowed to go ahead and be moitzi somebody else. You see today, Baruch Hashem, Klal Yisrael v'zoich, you have people, you need a kid. Some people don't like schnapps. They always, you need kiddush, no problem. Nachamol, they have 15 kaddashim, no problem. You need kiddush, I'm the kiddush guy. So the Machaber says that even though you're not being yotzi the kiddush, you can make the kiddush. But it ends off the Machaber, the Beis Yosef, that's the Beis Yosef. He ends off and he says, but v'hu she'ein habaki. This thing allowed to be moitzi somebody else with kiddush is only if the people that you're being moitzi you don't know how to read. But if they know how to read, so it's better if they themselves make the kiddush. When are we going to invoke Arvis, Kol Yisrael Rebim Zelozeh? If they don't know how to say the kiddush, they don't know how to read. So therefore, even Ava Pisha Yotza is moitzi. But if they know how to read, why should I take somebody else who's already yotza and have them moitzi them? The Mechaber says you shouldn't do that. Comes the Pri Chadash, and the Pri Chadash says, no, that's not true. Arvis works no matter what, unconditionally. Arvis works, even if you're yotza, even if they know how to read. So up to Pri Chadash, you're allowed to be moitzi them. And Kachab, the Midigan Klal Yisrael, people that make kiddush many times. Why? The Pri Chadash Shashita. So just, this is one example. The Pri Chadash went against the Beis Yosef. So Al Kaponim is a fascinating Pri Chadash. Listen to what the Pri Chadash says. Pri Chadash writes that to make up new Marasayins, that they can't do. it's limited to exactly the cases that the Gemara says. The only cases that are Marasayan are precisely the cases that the Gemara gave. Mishanashu Kelev B'mayim, if somebody's clothing got wet, or the Yisin Akim with the curtain going in with hems and pockets, but that's it. You can't make up new Marasayans. You can't go to a non-kosher restaurant. These things are never brought down in the Gemara. We can't have now people going ahead and making our own new Xeris of new Marasayans. You can't go here, you can't eat this. Anything that the Gemara didn't say says the Pri Chodesh, there's no Marasayan. It's only limited to exactly what the Gemara is, the few cases that the Gemara gave. A Pel Pri Chodesh. You learn someone learning the city of Marasayan, and every day you ask him, Sim Pei Zayin, you saw the Pri Chodesh? The Pri Chodesh is a revolutionary Pri Chodesh. It's unbelievable. Only limited to what the Gemara says, and that's it.
What about the Paul Sabin Nikim?
Visin Akim. So some want to learn that Daddy's still asking too, but others learn the Pri Chodesh across the board. The Visin Akim is only where the Gemara darshans. We can't make up what's called Nakim, what's not called Nakim. We don't have the right to do that.
Something is common sense.
So that he doesn't say. He says that you can't make a new Xeris.
I don't think the Gemara brought out just examples.
The Gemara just gives limited examples. Guys' clothing are wet. You have the case of maybe a sulam, the Gemara says, but that's it. It doesn't talk about going to restaurants, non-kosher restaurants. It doesn't talk about power of cheeseburgers. None of that. There's no Mara science in the Pri Chodesh. We can't make new Xeris. Now, obviously, this Pri Chodesh is fakert from the Furish Beis Yosef, fakert from Chuvas Rashba, because the Rashba says that a person can't cook meat, the chalav isha, in the milk of a mother. Now, the milk of a mother is not milk; it's parrot. I rather once had the shayla. Somebody asked me the shayla. They had the mother's milk in a bottle. They were shaking the bottle, the milk, and she had a pot of meat cooking on the stove, and some of the milk went into the meat, so she didn't know the milk was parrot. So she wanted to know that, and she had to throw out the meat. It's a ma'aseh shahid. So a little bit. It was only a little bit. So I told her it's no problem because the whole issue is marasayin. You can't see it. It's being you can't see it. There's no marasayin. Let's say by dam. The dentist probably had the shiloh salat. The Gemara says in Creases that we know that only the dam of a behemoth is us, but dam of a dog, dam of a fish, that's mutter. There's no issue on dam of a dog. So it says the Gemara that if somebody would pour the dam of a dog into a cup, a person can't drink it because it's marasayim. Well, if it is marasayim for deraisa, we're afraid you might think it's dam behemoth. But if you put scales into the cup, everybody will see it's fish. So it's not. You see, it's not a problem. What's the same thing? But where did you have the same thing? Like dam adam, a person's bleeding. I also had the shiloh. A lady was baking challah, and she realized she had a cut in her hand, and some of her blood went into the dough. I'm sure the dentist got a lot. A person's bleeding in his mouth. Dam of an adam is mutter. There's no way around dam of an adam. It's only out marasayim that people are going to think that maybe it's dam from a behemoth. That's why it's only usher if the dam is perish, if the dam leaves the mouth. But if the dam is in the mouth, it's mutter because everybody sees that the dam. This no one can see it. And anyway, even if it's in the mouth, they'll know it's dam adam. Dam adam is only marasayim that leaves the goof. See here, the lady's making challah. Some dam went into the challah. You can't see the dam. There's no marasayim. So memela.
No,
where?
by these examples of the milk and the dam falling for the...
It's not dam, it's meat.
It's meat and it's dam and it's chadr chador.
But you don't see the dam. If a person will take fish blood and drink it straight, then you're right. The chadr chador, you shouldn't do it.
It's the rice.
It falls in.
Okay, but it's meat. You don't see it. There's no marasayim. This doesn't start. It's a big chiluk. If a guy would take dam in a cup, dam dogim, or dam adam, then we would say even mechadr chador, you can't do it. But over here, it's mixed into the dough. It's mixed into the meat. You don't see the dam b'chal.
Why can't you do
Why is it
What? So dam behem would be daraisa. So it's a marasayim over daraisa. Dam dogim is only marasayim.
It's not even something.
What the chash is, that's really down from an animal. So we're afraid we're kosher for a daraisa. But once it gets mixed in, there's no problem. So how do we get onto this? You're talking about the Pri Chodesh, right? That's it. Oh, so the Pri Chodesh says you can't. The Pri Chodesh says you can't be machalish marasayim. You can't be machalish xeris. It's only exactly the way that Chazal said it. You can't add more. Oh, so obviously that many argue this Pri Chodesh because the Mechaber says a person can't cook meat in a mother's milk. Why? Because of marasayim. There's no such Gemara about that. Cooking meat in the chalav isha, and still the Rashba held it was a problem. So all the place can say, well, Pri Chodesh, you argue with the Rashba. So therefore, the consensus of most is that they don't follow the Pri Chodesh, but it's good to have the Pri Chodesh for a sniff. Because if we have other tzirufim to say why it's not marasayim, you could also always say, and we have a sniff of the Pri Chodesh. I mean, to rely just on a Pri Chodesh, it's a little bit difficult, because we have the case of Chalavisha. A person can't cook meat in the milk of a lady, even though the Gemara doesn't mention that case. But it's good to know the Pri Chodesh to use it as a sniff. Before we get to the practical shilas, there's a rush. There's a Moridika rush. Listen to this rush, because this is really a breakthrough to many of the shilas that we have today. The Hainu like this. We know the rush, the Ben Rosh Ben Yechiel, from the famous Rishonim. He lived from 1250 to 1327. His Rebbe was his father, Ben Yechiel, the Marami Rattenberg. He was very instrumental when the Marami Rattenberg was captured, trying to escape to Eretz Yisrael. They wanted a ransom of 20,000 rubles or something, an enormous amount of money. The Rosh was the one who said that he's ready to collect the cost. But the Marami Rattenberg didn't allow it. He says, if you're going to give them money, Chas v'sholom, they'll come for more. But he was the Talmud of Marami Rattenberg, and he was the father of the Baal Turim. The Tur was the son of the Rosh. So the Rosh writes like this. There's a Moridika Rosh. Listen to this Rosh. The Rosh says, the Mishnah tells us that we know shatnez is only wool and linen. What about silk and wool? So the Mishnah in Klayim says that even though silk and wool technically is mutter, it's not semer pishtim. But the problem is, the Mishnah says that there's a chash of marasayim. Because silk could give the appearance of wool, could give the appearance of linen. I guess back in the day the way they used to make it. And therefore says the Mishnah, Abel Isur Mishum Marasayim. Writes the Rosh. Umine Shirayim Halolu. In the times of the Mishnah, Loihoyu Mitsuyim Beinayim. They didn't have silk. They didn't have a lot of silk. It wasn't a common thing that was used by the people. Hilkoch says the Rosh, Yesh Lachash Marasayim. We have to be afraid of Marasayim. The B'toich She'enim Mitzuyim, since it's not common. Vein B'kiyim Ben. People don't even know about it. People don't know about it. You Svurim, they're going to think Shaloi V'shklayim. They're going to think you're wearing Klayim. Umitoich Zeh, says the Rosh, I myself, Asarti Ba'ashkenaz, I asked in Germany, Shaloi Litvar Bigdei Kanbus Tachas Bigdei Tzemer. I myself told the people, his Kehilo, not to go ahead and sew wool together with canvas, because that also gave the appearance. But concludes the Rosh and says like this: V'idn in our times, Mitsuyim Bigdei Mashi B'nenu. We Baruch Hashem, we have silk. V'akol Makir Ben. Everybody knows the difference between silk and linen. Hilkoch, says the Rosh, Mutter Litvar Bigdei Meshi Tachas Bigdei Tzemer. The Gam Chutei Meshi B'Savol Shel Tzemer. Says the Rosh, today silk is mutter. Because what is their problem, Marasayim? Marasayim doesn't mean, like the Rabbanim made a halacha, you can't carry the Carmelis. Can't carry the Carmelis in Shabbos, it has to stay. The halacha of Marasayim is depending if there's taka a chashash or not. So in the times that silk appeared like wool, it appeared like linen, so then you're right, there's an isser of wearing silk. But let's say today that we're more advanced, and we know what silk's all about. And people aren't going to go ahead and construe and mix up silk with linen or silk with wool. Over there says the Rosh Havad, over there it's mutter. Marasayim is only when there's a big tzad to say the person's being over nisr. So let's say it comes popular to cook chicken and margarine. It becomes a popular thing. I can't say that, no, parva ice cream. I want to eat parva ice cream, people are going to think it's milk. No, because since today everybody knows that there's parva ice cream on the market. Everybody knows that there are dairy creamers on the market. So therefore, l'chari could stolz to the Rosh is a big tzad to compare the Rosh and say, the same way the Rosh says that with times. When the times change, the halacha changes, because the whole Marasayim was based on the fact that silk looked like linen. So today, when there's an industry of parva milks, dairy cream, and parva ice cream, there's no chash of Marasayim. Everybody knows that there's parva ice cream. You see somebody by a chasana.